Hello class, we are Pamela and Gabriela. We are going to talk about task-based language teaching.
According to Willis, TBLT is an approach based on the use of tasks as a core unit of planning and instruction in language teaching.
TBLT is presented as a logical development of CLT since it draws on several of its principles, such as activities involving real communication are essential for language learning. Activities in which language is used for carrying out meaningful tasks promote learning. Language that is meaningful to the learner supports the learning process. Tasks are proposed as useful vehicles for applying these principles.
The role of tasks has received further support from some researchers in second language acquisition in the 1980s. They suggested a reassessment of the role of formal grammar instruction since grammar-focused teaching activities do not reflect the cognitive learning processes employed outside the classroom. Task work provides students with a better context for the activation of learning processes and better opportunities for language learning to take place. Tasks require students to negotiate meaning and engage in naturalistic and meaningful communication.
TBLT proposes the notion of task as an activity or goal that is carried out using language, such as finding a solution to a puzzle, reading a map and giving directions, making a phone call, writing a letter, or reading a set of instructions. Tasks are activities which have meaning as their primary focus. Success in tasks is evaluated in terms of achievement of an outcome, and tasks generally bear some resemblance to real-life language use.
Approach. Theory of language. Though TBLT is motivated primarily by a theory of learning, language is primarily considered as a means of making meaning. Meaning is primary. The assessment of the task is in terms of outcome. Multiple models of language inform TBLT. Task-based instruction is linked to the structural, functional, and interactional models of language. In this theory of language, lexical units are central in language use and language learning. Vocabulary includes the consideration of lexical phrases, sentence stems, prefabricated routines, collocations, and not only words as units. Conversation is the central focus of language and the keystone of language acquisition. Communicating with others through the spoken language using the learner's available linguistic and communicative resources is the basis for language acquisition.
Theory of learning. Tasks provide both the input and output processing necessary for language acquisition. A task is the pivot point for stimulation of input-output practice and fosters processes of negotiation, modification, rephrasing, and experimentation. Task activity and achievement are motivational. Learning is promoted since tasks require learners to use authentic language, vary in format and operation, include physical activity and collaboration. They may call on the learner's past experience and encourage a variety of communication styles. Learning difficulty can be negotiated and fine-tuned for particular pedagogical purposes. Tasks can be designed along a line of difficulty so that learners can work on them to develop fluency and awareness of language form.
Design. Objectives. Goals in TBLT are determined by the specific and the real-world needs of the particular learners. The syllabus. A conventional syllabus specifies the content of a course from among these categories: language structures, functions, topics and themes, macro skills such as reading, writing, listening, and speaking, competencies, text types, and vocabulary targets. Although proponents of TBLT do not preclude any of these categories, they are more concerned with the process dimensions of learning.
A TBLT syllabus specifies the tasks into real-world tasks and pedagogical tasks. The former are considered to be important and useful in the real world, such as using the telephone, planning a vacation, or applying to the university. The latter are those which have a psycholinguistic basis and do not necessarily reflect real-world tasks, such as naming parts of a diagram with numbers and letters, completing an information gap activity, or drawing geometrical figures.
The ordering of tasks also has to be determined according to their difficulty, which depends on the previous experience of the learner, the complexity, the language required, and the supports available.
Types of learning and teaching activities. In an attempt to classify tasks, Willis proposes 6 task types: listing, ordering and sorting, comparing, problem solving, sharing personal experiences, and creative tasks.
Tasks can also be classified according to the type of interaction that occurs in task accomplishment. Jigsaw tasks are those involving learners combining different pieces of information to form a whole. Information gap tasks are those in which one student or group of students has one set of information and another student or group has a complementary set of information. They must negotiate and find out what the other party's information is in order to complete an activity.
Problem-solving tasks. Students are given a problem and a set of information. They must arrive at the solution to the problem. Decision-making tasks. Students are given a problem for which there are a number of possible outcomes, and they must choose one through negotiation and discussion. Opinion exchange tasks. Learners engage in discussion and exchange of ideas. They do not need to reach agreement.
Other characteristics of tasks. Tasks may involve a one-way or a two-way exchange of information. They can be convergent or divergent, that is, if students achieve a common goal or several different goals. They can also be collaborative or competitive, and may have single or multiple outcomes. The task may involve the use of concrete or abstract language. It may require simple or complex cognitive processing. The linguistic demands of the task can be relatively simple or complex. The task can be reality-based or not reality-based. That is, whether the task mirrors a real-world activity or is a pedagogical activity not found in the real world.
Learner roles. TBLT primary roles are group participant, because tasks can be done in pairs or small groups. Monitor. Students pay attention to how the language is used in communication, focusing on the message and the form. Risk taker and innovator. Learners are required to create and interpret messages for which they lack full linguistic resources and prior experience by making use of paraphrasing, guessing from linguistic and contextual clues, restating or using paralinguistic signals.
Teacher roles. One of the roles is as a selector and sequencer of tasks. A teacher selects, adapts, and/or creates the tasks according to the learner needs, interests, and language level. Another role is that of preparing learners for tasks. TBLT proponents suggest that some sort of task preparation is important. Such activities include topic introduction, clarifying task instructions, helping students learn useful words or phrases, and providing partial demonstration of task procedures. Consciousness-raising role. A teacher employs a variety of form-focusing techniques, including attention-focusing pre-task activities, text exploration, guided exposure to parallel tasks, and use of highlighted material in order to make students focus on form.
The role of instructional material. Pedagogic materials are important because TBLT is dependent on a sufficient supply of appropriate classroom tasks, which may require considerable time, ingenuity, and resources to develop. They are limited only by the imagination of the task designer, and they can be found in traditional text format, multimedia, or published as task card.
Realia. TBLT proponents favor the use of authentic materials whenever possible. Popular media provide rich resources for such materials around which different task types can be built, such as newspapers, television, and the internet.
For example, if students work with a newspaper, they can examine it, determine its sections, and suggest new ones. They can prepare a job wanted ad using examples from the classified section, or they can prepare their weekend entertainment plan using the entertainment section.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.